Progressives Congress has mocked the African Democratic Congress over its leadership crisis, saying the opposition party lacks the capacity to manage itself, let alone challenge the ruling party in 2027. The row began after former ADC deputy chairman Nafiu Bala declared himself national chairman, claiming the party constitution makes him the rightful successor to Ralph Ngosu. But ADC spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi dismissed him as an imposter seeking attention. Reacting, the APC said the wrangling only shows weakness in the opposition, stressing it is focused on delivering the renewed hope agenda and not destabilizing rivals. Well, for more on this and the latest developments coming out of the African Democratic Congress, we're being joined in the studio by Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC. Good morning, sir, and a warm welcome to the program today.
Good morning. Good morning. My pleasure.
Okay. All right, well, let's get straight into it. It seems like it's one day, one wahala for the ADC. If it's not Dumebi Kachiku, it's now Mr. Nafiu Bala. I'd like to know, just to set the scene for this conversation, what does ADC's constitution say about the chairman of the party, the vice chairman of the party, and how those roles are supposed to evolve?
Well, I mean, what the constitution of the ADC provided for is that if the neck of the party approves anything, then it becomes legally binding. And for us in the coalition, when we came into the ADC, we ensured that everything that we needed to do was done. And like I've repeatedly maintained, this notion of crisis, I mean, is good for the headlines. But there's no crisis in the ADC. There's no crisis. I mean, this person that you mentioned, what's his name again? That you said is the new chairman of the ADC. He's not
Nafiu Bala.
Nafiu Bala, thank you very much. He's not saying anything different from what he said about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And what makes this news now is what surprises us. And that's why I think that sometimes our people are throwing us curveballs. Because we said this guy resigned his position as the whatever position he was occupying in the executive of the party before we came in. And we showed the evidence that he resigned. Then this same person came out to allege that he actually didn't resign, that his signatures were forged. And we said, if your signatures were forged, that's crime. Why don't you report to the police? Why are you calling press conferences? So then this same person came, he said he had taken over the secretariat of the ADC and is now the national chairman. And we said, which secretariat? Which secretariat are you talking about? And these are the questions I expect people to ask of him. Which secretariat? Sometimes when you have people throwing this kind of stones around, and we know where all this is coming from, and we are not bothered. You can see they are thinking from the same hymn book, whether it's the APC or Nafiu Bala or who else is being sponsored to do all this. But we are giving credence. I'm dragged out of my bed now to come and discuss Nafiu Bala. Seriously, there's no crisis in ADC. I'm happy to speak about it.
Let me jump in here now. Many of this issue appears to be foundational issue, and a lot of people, I remember the very powerful rhetorics, declaration of the national chairman during the unveiling, which I happened to cover, when it said that for every youth in Nigeria that faces an uncertain future, this movement is for you. Yeah. So Nigerians were in high hopes for a breath of fresh air. But what we've seen so far is a recycle of old politicians in the ADC. And now we could see an obvious defection back to their party, showing their real identity, where their hearts really belong to. So where does the ADC stand in all this, in the movement towards 2027? Do you see it as still having that formidable force to wrest power from the APC, led by a very skillful politician, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Well,
I mean, I heard you say that while earlier, and I think I will need you to provide an evidence, to mention one person that was part of the ADC coalition that has left or returned to wherever he has come from. If you can mention one person, I will probably be in a position to explain. I can't think of anybody at this time.
We saw many of them.
Can you please
we saw many of them at the 102 meeting.
NEC meeting.
NEC meeting.
Yes.
And in fact, a guest was also here on the show, Mrs. Siroma, that said that she was initially part, but she's now back with the at the PDP.
You see, Agbenga, let me say something. Even at the beginning of the coalition, there were people who were not convinced, who were not sure, who were still hoping, whose heart, people like Sule Lamido, for example, whose heart were still in PDP and believing that they could still rescue the party, and they saw the coalition as an escape route, so to say. So they went back to their party, but I'm saying that there is no single person who has been committed to the coalition from the start, who was there at the July 2nd declaration, who attended the NEC meeting that you referred to, who has gone anywhere.
Okay, let me just quickly add this one. I'm sure Vimbai would have something to ask too, and Yolanda, but this one is very urgent. We've seen the evolution, the movements of the ADC, and now there's people who are saying outrightly that according to the ADC constitution, that the only way to swear in a new leadership is to have a national convention. When are you coming up with a national convention?
That is not true. That's not true. The constitution empowers the NEC to act on behalf of the convention, because you can only have a convention. There are procedures for having the convention. That's the highest body of the party. So
are you discarding the importance of the convention?
We are not. I'm not. I just said that it's the highest organ of the party. So the constitution of the party empowers the NEC to act and take decision on behalf of the convention. So whatever decision the NEC takes is as if the convention has taken it. So what now happens is that when you eventually have the convention, most parties have convention once in a year. So eventually when you have the convention, then the convention ratifies the decision of NEC. So we have not done anything untoward or you know.
Okay, well, to sidestep slightly, recently ADC called for a state of emergency in Katsina and in Zamfara state. Now, you mentioned that the federal government's handling of the crisis was inadequate. Can you elaborate on what specific actions or policies you believe should have been implicated to prevent the recent attacks and to improve the security situation in those states?
Well, the question is whether anything is being done at all. You know, because repeatedly you find a situation as if, especially Zamfara state, is another country. We've raised this alarm repeatedly that we have information, it's been reported in the news, that bandits have taken over a large swath of Zamfara territory, and are actually extracting taxes. That is a duty of government, extracting taxes from citizens. That is one. Two, they come at will, abduct people, slaughter people, and come back repeatedly and demand ransom. And we expect that if you find yourself in a situation like this as a country, regardless of whatever you think you are doing as government, it is not working. And that is why it appalls us that the APC can be talking about Nafiu Bala when Nigerians are being slaughtered in Zamfara. And we say, look, when the situation gets, if you could declare state of emergency in rivers where no lives were apparently lost, what stops you from taking such extreme or drastic measure to stop this hemorrhaging, to stop this slaughter, until you are able to restore a measure of stability and security? So if they are reluctant to do that, then it's within our right to call them out, to say, is either you are not sincere about this, or you really don't know what you are doing. So that's what we've done. declare a state of emergency. And by the way, when we say declare of emergency, we are not saying that remove the governor or anything, right? Declare a state of emergency, which means that you are applying extraordinary laws to stop the willful abduction, willful slaughter, and mass decimation of the population of Zamfara, and even establishing a pseudo-government that is able to extract taxation. So that's what we are saying.
Now, following up on that, what specific reforms or changes do you propose to enhance this public safety and to restore the citizens' trust?
Well, you see, like we said last week, what is clear is that whatever we have in place at this time is not working. And when you find that whatever you are having is not working, what you do is to have the courage to go back to the drawing board to say, let's take a second look at this. And when I listened to the Chief of Defense Staff said, every Nigerian should learn the art of self-defense. Right? It signals something to me that this man, I know he will come under attack, but he is probably the most honest statement coming from that quarters in a long time. That look, you are on your own.
No, I think that's a mix of context.
Hang on a second. I got it clearly.
I said that's what obtains in other advanced climes in the world.
I know, but what I'm saying is that when he says you should learn self-defense skill, Nigerians probably had not learned self-defense skill.
Even mentioned swimming and other parts that
if you allow me to explain.
Okay, but I'm just putting you in the proper perspective.
I understand exactly what he said, and that was what I was coming to, right? He said in other countries they learn swimming, they learn all kinds of combat skills, they learn. But what I'm saying that Nigerians probably have taken this for granted on the assumption that government will take care of them, that government will be able to protect them. Now he's saying, hang on, even if we are going to protect you, you also have a duty to learn to defend yourself. Now, if we are talking about reconstructing
Madam Abdullahi,
the security system,
I want to interject at this point. Madam Abdullahi, because, you know, we heard just a couple of days ago, the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, says that insecurity is now being politicized. Now, you know, when you come and you advocate for a state of emergency to be declared, and then you also make statements such as, well, you know, the government can't do everything, people need to learn how to defend themselves. I just want to ask, does that mean that an ADC government would in essence advocate for Nigerians to actually just ensure that they learn self-defense? Because like you said, the government can't do everything. Is that your position as ADC?
No, I think you didn't understand what I said. I didn't say that. That's not my opinion. I was only quoting the Chief of Defense Staff, who said people should learn survival skills and life skills to be able to defend themselves. And
do you agree with him?
And I was discussing the implication of that. I was saying that by coming out to say that, he's also saying that whatever security arrangement we have in place now is inadequate. Citizens also have to play their part. They have to be able to defend themselves. And I'm saying that I agree completely with that. So what I'm saying is that ADC is saying, let us review.
In essence, you're saying an ADC government supports self-defense.
That's my opinion. I just told you my opinion. I say I agreed with somebody else's opinion. That does not represent the position of ADC on this matter. So I'm just saying that what the ADC is saying is that we need to reconfigure, we need to re-examine in a holistic terms what the security infrastructure we have in place is, because it's obvious that it's no longer adequate for the emerging challenges that we're facing.
Okay, I'll quickly jump in here and back to the promises in which the ADC rode to its unveiling. A lot of expectations, and Nigerians expect the ADC to show leadership in their dealings, and some of these parties have started zoning their candidacy, and many people believe that the fly in the ointment for the ADC will be how to achieve a consensus of party candidacy. And just like the SDP presidential candidate, Barrister Bayo Adewale said, he said the ADC courted the SDP on how to form an alliance, but they failed their integrity test because they couldn't answer many of the questions that were posed to the ADC. So is the ADC, do you think the ADC would be able to make up its mind on its consensus candidate, or at least zoning its presidential candidates to either north or south?
SDP actually said that to you?
live here that the coalition could not answer most of the question when it quoted it to join its alliance.
I'm not going to talk about SDP because I know what happened.
No, it's on record.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to talk about it because I know what happened, and I don't I don't want to be the one embarrassing people here. So let me answer the question, the other leg of the question about the issue of the consensus,
possible zoning.
Yeah. So what ADC is doing, and we are saying that we are not having conversation about zoning at this time. We are not having, it's within our right to say we are not having conversation about that now, because it's not strategic for us to have that conversation now. Our priority, don't forget, ADC came into play as party of the coalition in less than 2 months ago. So our priority at this time is to build our structures around the country. And as you can see, we are doing a lot of that. People are going back to their states and building these structures. That's what's important to us now. That itself, it puts a lot of pressure on the administration and the governance of the party. Now, for us at this fragile state of trying to build the structure, to be in a fighting position in 2027, to now add the issue of zoning, right? So you'll agree with me that it's APC can afford to do that. They are the government in power. PDP could do that because it's strategic for them. They are hunting for someone to lead them. So it's okay to use it to lure some people into their party to say, no, you have.
So in what way are you showing leadership in Nigeria's politics now? Because you promised a fresh wave of leadership option.
But leadership is also knowing what to do and when to do it. I don't know what you mean by showing leadership. Because
showing a clear direction.
Okay, our direction.
Malam Abdullahi, Atiku Abubakar said that he will undoubtedly be running in 2027. He is a member of the ADC. So you're saying that the ADC, has no part in his commitment to run for president in 2027?
Rotimi Amechi has also said he's going to run in 2027. Peter Obi has said he's going to run in 2027. They are all members of the coalition. It's within their rights to say so. And the purpose, one of the fundamental purpose of a political party is to aggregate the competing ambitions of their members. So when we get to that bridge, we shall cross it. But we are only saying that at this moment, that is not our priority. That's all we are saying. So that Atiku Abubakar is saying that he will run, that Peter Obi is saying he will run, does not preclude Amechi saying he will run, or any of the other people who are interested. But what we are committed to is that there will be level playing ground, there will be free and fair opportunities, and we are going to have conversation, one, to engineer a consensus, and when that doesn't work, we'll do competitive primaries. But the question of whether we are zoning or we are not zoning is also there. But we're not discussing that at this time. And like I've said, we have other priorities, which is to build our party. We don't have the luxury that the ruling party has, so we have to get our priorities
right.
Okay,
I think I have to come in here. Thank you very much, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, former sports minister and the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress. Thank you very much for making our time to join us on the show to brief us up to speed on the state of the coalition. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Insightful conversation. That's all we have time for here on Daybreak. I'm Vimbai Mutiniri Ekpeyong.
And I'm Binga Ashiru saying, do have a most pleasant day. Goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Goodbye.